Welcome, beautiful hearts. We are here with Psy Wind, and you can already feel the energies, sacred geometry, light language, and toning. What is the power behind this, and how does it activate ancient memories within us? Let's welcome Psy Wind to this quantum conversation. Hi, Psy. Thank you for being here. Welcome.
Hi, Lauren. It's so wonderful to be here with you. I just absolutely love your work and what you're doing. So it's such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, this is a fascinating discussion because you are a multi-dimensional frequency transmitter. Not only are you doing this right now, I can feel it in the quantum, but you're actually doing it with your physical vessel. In every moment that you breathe, that you are on planet Earth, and that's quite amazing. So let's hear about you because this is amazing. What happened on your journey to bring you into where you are now as this multidimensional frequency transmitter?
I actually remember being a small infant and seeing sound and actually in my environment feeling the energies and listening to myself make sound before I had words, before I knew what words were. I would enunciate with a sound and I could see the geometry within it. So I could see the geometry of my breath, the geometries, the color shapes of thoughts. That I could see the energies change as I was making a different sound. I wouldn't necessarily understand the articulation of it as a small infant, but I was making longer sounds as I was watching the colors, and then I would laugh and watch the colors through the laugh change and the geometries change. So I would like really play with that, as a child and explore with it that way and began drawing and layering with geometry about 2 or 3 years old, just playing with layers and multimedia and different facets, and where I would rinse, I'd create something with, say, marker or pencil, and then I would rinse it in the sink and watch it change into something else. And I was fascinated with transformation through geometry, through sound, and just explored very early on that way, but always felt the shift and change of energy through the sound, through the shape, through the color, through the wave, through the energy. I could actually feel that through my vessel and knew that my body was I would say as a young person tuned that way, but it's biological, it's part of our resonance chamber that we all have the capacity to change energy that way. But it was very specific where if I thought a thought about something, I could feel the tuning change. I could literally feel that within myself.
Wow. All right, that is so fascinating. So, when you grew up then, how were you supported as a child? Did you put these gifts away or did your family support you and let you? And so how did that shape your life, seeing energy like this? Because you can, and you still have these abilities, right? So we can see there's so many questions that spring from this side. It's like, oh my God, when you look at the collective, what's going on? We're going to get to those questions in a moment, but how were you supported as a child?
Well, gratefully, I was always supported through artwork and through exploring art, which is where I found myself to really be anchoring in what I was seeing and what I was perceiving and comprehending, even helping me to comprehend what was this place, this earth place that I was in was I was given, lots of signed up for lots of different art classes, lots of different media where I would explore different media, string, metal, wood, engrave with tools, markers, pencils, all different types of media that I could explore through. And while I was doing that, I could feel myself, transversing into different realms and worlds. I could see how I was bringing those things here, in this physical realm. So I'm very grateful that I was always supported that way with the tools, beyond the tools that I came with, the actual tangible tools to see that blank sheet of paper or that blank, piece of fabric transform and be supported to explore. So yeah, it was really beautiful that way.
Wonderful. And so here you are today, and you are actually using your physical vessel as that canvas to reflect these energies. Tell us about your tattoos and what inspired you to decorate and adorn your physical vessel this way.
Well, it was very much motivated, you could say, or guided by code, which was something that I was seeing very young was different symbols. People call it light code or light language, different terminologies, but essentially it was symbols in the light and the geometries. And as I was, you want to say young enough or old enough, however you want to look at it, to get tattooed, I knew I was going to have a suit as part of an amplifier to my tool, my vessel. And to me, it was very specific layers of geometry to function a certain way, the same way that light code or light language has a function instructions as a technology. So there was initially one whole layer of a suit with specific instructions, you could say, or geometries. And then I ended up doing three total suits till I felt complete in completion of the information that was layered in between and on top of each other to amplify, in this realm that we're in. So yeah.
All right, so cool. Thank you. And the artwork behind you is your artwork. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Amazing. So, these geometries and these codes, you're seeing this. Have you contemplated your past life? Because it's very galactic, right?
hmm
How would you describe yourself and your soul journey? Are you a star seed? Are you a walk-in? What do you know about yourself and a
Um,
remembrance of your past lives?
Right. Well, I see it as parallelly, I see everything multidimensionally. So I literally feel like every moment that I'm having, I can see the parallel nature of the different realities that I'm tuning into. So to me, I look at it like I'm multidimensionally existing on these different planes. So I'm very specific where I'm tuned into, but I've had many different, missions, you could say, or incarnations, different systems, very galactic, but not star seed, not as a walk. And I've known since I was, born, very young age, not necessarily in the womb, but that I was from another realm, from like I used to tell the kids in school, I came from really far away. I'm not going to play house in the plastic house. Like I don't have time for this, like like I have these things that I need to do here, but I had this really innate knowingness that, and part of it too is the biological nature of my vessel is that is you could say tuned in that way, but the DNA is precisely tuned in the way that to bring through all of these variations of galactic tones, celestial tones, to where I can really tune that harmonically and bring that through my vessel versus like channeling, the different perceptions on channeling, of course, but these are not channelings. This is actually biologically brought through the multidimensionality that is me. So in a physical body.
Okay, all right. So as it's we're all multidimensional, and as we each begin to wake up to our multidimensionality, what do you think is important in this process? What's required for us to awaken multidimensionally? What does that mean? And it's the importance of grounding, right?
Yeah.
We can't just be out there, but grounding, I'm getting that grounding is very important. How do you manage staying grounded by being multidimensional? And then the bigger question, what is necessary for each of us to do then as we are awakening and remembering our multidimensionality?
That's a wonderful question because I think that's what a lot of people are navigating right now is, they're opening these different layers of multidimensional beingness in this reality or this transforming reality, wondering, well, how do I see myself in these different places or feel all these different things and actually integrate it into an evolving human on Earth because, that's a lot of different things going on. So it's really important to be grounded, find new ways, even through our evolution, to find new ways to ground because I feel that there's a lot of confusion about what grounding is, as like grounding as an anchor. It's really, being centered within yourself and harmonized so that in any experience, you're consistently tuned to wherever you are and find your way home, into your neutrality. And I think we can do that in a multitude of ways, but it's very individual to the soul. For me, what helps me is time in nature because that's really a nice core connection to where I reside. So I'm at home anywhere in the universe within my vessel, bringing those, very galactic tones and frequencies through, but I can feel that coming through my toes and into the earth. And my hum even is coming all the way through my body where it really is that pulse, it's that continuous toric pulse that to find those ways of what that soul may need to connect to at any given moment. Sometimes it's writing perhaps or journaling. It helps bring information through or transform energy out, singing or toning. But for me, it's nature most of the time, which I end up singing and toning through, through walking in nature or being on a hike or something like that. So it's like that multifaceted bridge through my bridge, through my pillar. So I invite people to really explore what works for them because it's going to change. We're changing really fast and everything is accelerated. So what works for somebody, in one moment, say they're having a still meditation and that's helping them ground, it's helping them center, but then the next moment or the next day that doesn't work for them anymore. So really explore what works for them right now and perhaps discard what doesn't. Because we really are, 5 minutes ago, we've evolved, vastly beyond 5 minutes ago as ancient for who we are in this particular moment. So really honor that, honor that because our bodies really are, cellularly, our DNA reconfigurations, upgrades, all the things that are changing. We need to find new ways for our own selves that might be different than what we've been told or have been doing, right?
And so as we look at the collective, I know this is an evolution of humanity, one heart at a time. We're each on this journey. When you look out at the collective, do you see anything? Like, can you see distortions in people? And can you see people who are making that multidimensional connection? So I guess my question would be, are you hopeful when you
Oh,
look out
absolutely.
at humanity, right? Because we are evolving and getting better at it. And it's fascinating that you can see the parallels, and so we can go deeper on that, but tell me your thoughts on that when you look at the collective and I mean, I think that we can all look out and see the toxic areas. Do you see the same thing or do you see it differently?
Well, I see it differently, like in the way that I feel the energy, like, and I still sense the change and the energetic shifts and the catalyzation and, the expansion is still unfolding. To me, it's at what degree of vibration or velocity per soul, but that really depends on what they came to work on and what they came to work through. And it's not everyone's role to have, or everyone's choice or mission to have the same job duties, right? So like their evolution is still equally as important as the next person, even if it may look like it's more complex or, maybe not ideal for us or something like that, but there's still forward motion. So I'm extremely hopeful because I actually feel like we're far superseded what people thought, people or even other galactic collectives thought would be possible at this juncture. We're beyond that because I know there's many that thought it couldn't be done, and now we're actually bringing these pure tone frequencies and velocities, light codes, and new structures through that. We've never actually done this before, these high frequencies into bodies, into this density, and the transformation is huge. So what's actually happening is massive, and it's so of a beginning point of what will be that, what we're transitioning into. So everyone is actually doing brilliantly in whatever moment they're in. It's monumentous and it's all important.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, that's really good. I want to go back to the way that you see parallel realities, like you see the parallelness and I guess we could say various timelines, various outcomes that are present. So for those, then this goes back into our frequency and vibration. So how do we navigate that? Can you give us some guidance on like how you, if we're in a situation and we are very present with our energy and something maybe is happening, how do you navigate that so that we stay on the highest timeline, the highest outcome, the best frequency for us?
That's a beautiful question. I love this because it really is instantaneous, isn't it? When we're in
Yeah.
any experience, it could be an airport, it could,
Mhm.
a relative visiting or so, something like that. But if we're present, as we're present, not if, let's say as, because that's the hope always, is when we're present, we can see that because we can sense something that might have a little, say, you want to say energy wobble or something that's a little staticky or a little distortionary. We can feel that as we're present, and that's where we can redirect or not engage with that thought. I think it's very important to tune and fine tune and refine consistently, meaning that we're refining when we notice, because if we were, not if, as we refine our harmonic tune, which is our frequency and vibration, those things won't come into our awareness. It may be more like background noise, like a car driving by or something like that, where it's, a lull of a tone, but it doesn't come into our awareness in the same way, or it doesn't trigger. There's no, emotion or charge or anything like that because it's not in the tone and the tune to be on the same radio dial. So the invitation is to consistently fine tune and refine our frequencies as we're being present, because we can feel right away, as we're present, feel and sense what's not quite correct. Our body will tell us, right? Our nervous system, something will feel constricted all of a sudden, or, get a tension, or some kind of a, shiver or a funny feeling, and that's when we can refine further or just not get into that conversation. So there's a multitude of ways that we can continue to refine, but it's moment to moment because, people are varying, you want to say octaves, but varying their frequency and their dimensional plane based off of a moment to moment thought. So how we're choosing to navigate that, and I'm just giving sort of a visual reference, but if this is a dimensional octave and we're tuning and fine tuning and tuning and fine tuning, we're tuning in and out of different layers, every moment. So say we're shifting that energy like that octave is immediately naturally going to go onto a different channel, which whatever's playing on the other radio station on a different channel won't be heard. It's literally like you change your channel so you don't hear it, and these are the different layers for an example. So as you're tuning, say you're refining, tuning, oh, now you're on a different dial, and that um, phone call can't ring, or you can't pick up that phone call because you're on a different channel, you're on a different bandwidth, right?
So as we tone, naturally, that is a reaction that some of us do, like we're just compelled to tone, or others sing light language, or some sing or move the body. That's us shifting the energy some way. Is that right? And we may not be aware of it, but that's what you're expressing here, is that when we're shifting the energy in that way, we are bringing through new information. Can you explain the information of tones and light language and what's happening there? Because we can feel it in our body. Some of us can, some of us are feeling it in different ways. But what is your understanding of what's happening, and how does that feel when it's moving through your body?
Sure. Well, if we look at light language as an example, say we saw, a string of it, whether written, vertically or horizontally, one symbol in a large string has a lot of information, which is energy. So within that information is essentially encoded instructions as a technology to do certain things. So that one symbol has maybe not a word translation, but it'll have a frequency translation to function a certain way. So the sensations many times that are felt are correlated to what it's designed or intended to do, what the tone and the tune is. And innately, as you had mentioned, if we're tuning or humming or toning naturally, is our inner ancient awareness already knows that we're frequency transformers. So in whatever that experience is, we're thinking the thought, we're creating the thing, which is the tone, and we're changing the energy. And when and as or if we've come into that awareness is really what we're doing, because we're designed that way, and we're that infinite to do that. So the understanding that I have is the more consciously and presently and specifically, precisely that you tune each code, versus, for example, you tune naturally and tone naturally, you are changing energy, but the more precisely you're intending it, tuning it and activating it, it has a way more amplified effect to say anchor, transform, build, create, dissolve, or all of it all at once, open, close, transform, shift, integrate, expand. It's how intricate it really is in one symbol. There's so much information, so it really can do all of that at once. And when we awaken, or as we awaken our own language, because everyone has a soul language, when we do that, we can precisely decide and choose to work with it very specifically versus, allowing it to flow through, which is great. You're allowing that knowingness to flow through, but the more awareness you utilize, the more specific, precise co-creation with the thought, you're actually really having a more evolved expression of that technology, more intricate, more expanded evolution for all too, because of the way you're actually using it, co-creating with it.
That is powerful, Sai. Thank you so much. I want to know how we awaken this soul language within us. So that's what we're talking about. We're awakening this soul language. And, as babies just sitting there making noises and cooing, that's how it started. That's how you recognized it as that infant, seeing how sound was changing and shifting. So to consciously tune these codes, to use them as tools. I'm thinking that this could empower our manifestations, it could empower and amplify our goals. It's a quantum field tool. So if we are in tune with our heart space and being very present with that and emitting a tone like this in the way that you're suggesting, we're actually giving it direction, right? We're giving, or you explain what's happening there. It's like we're being supported by the quantum field through that tone. Can you explain why this is, what's happening?
Well, it's very like simply parallel to thought creates. So it's whatever the frequency is that's imbued in that code will create that. And it also takes that energy imbuing, if you will, within it, the the love, the purity, the divine I say righteousness, but having those intentions, all those pure intentions within it, and also for the highest good for all. And also knowing that as you're, creating that, activating that, creating that in such a way, knowing that it's already done, and it is. That's how energy transforms, and what makes it not, if you want to say it that way, is when there's not that belief. That's how how transformation actually happens, how creation actually happens. And what light is a, we build with light, we create with light, just as we create with thought. So of course it is, it's thought, it's done, it is. And it's not as complex as it seems, even if, and I'll just show you sort of an example, um, just as this is one specific, I don't know if you can see this with Zoom background, but this is something that I've written, and it may look complex, but it actually each part, each facet, each code is very specifically intended in the way I just described. So it has a different amplification and manifestation than, allowing something, say, to come through. We'll still be doing something, and having a beautiful effect, but not quite to the same magnitude, right?
Okay, thank you, Sai. This is so amazing. And I think what's really helpful in this moment is for you to take us on a mini activation, if you will. Can you share with us your voice, the codes, what you're doing, so we can experience that?
Sure, absolutely. I would love to do that. Before I change my sound settings, I just want to share that the reason why I love to work so much with the frequencies is because it activates dormancies we don't even know of, all these specificities, right? We might not know the science behind the DNA necessarily, individual to individual, but the sound will undulate through the cells in in the body, in the structures, or clear out the energy in the layers. So when I work with sound and those precise intentions with the codes, it has those abilities to do certain things with awakening dormancies and activating. So this transmission will be guided to do that, awaken the dormancies, to really evolve into those next now evolutions, known or unknown. So with that, let me change my sound settings.
What a gift. Thank you. And be open to receive beautiful hearts. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Thank you, Lauren. So I invite everyone to take a few deep breaths to open the body to receive fully. Om Aing Ai. Om Aing Ai. Anaya maya ngai ho akaya taya kaya naya sia. Ho me haya kai ni ho mai hia ni haya kai o kai ni ho akai si ai. O ti haya kai. O me haya ni kai no hia haya kai o kai. O ni ai Oni haya maya hai sai ia kai no ia kaya kai ni haya ka. Oni haya maya haya shiny haya kaya kai ni. O ia ngina ia koshi haya kaito. Sinai ia ka. Oni hai ngai ho mai si tai ongi hai ni hai ai. Breathe the cosmos through your sacred eternal breath, through your pillar, through your luminous crystalline heart beating. Breathing, walking, intending, awakened on your next steps through your feet on this sacred, evolving earth at this pivotal, monumentous time. Onia Maya Yakaya Kinaya, unified with Source, as you are brilliant, luminous, divine, cosmic being, light, blessed soul, Akiai Niakiai Okai Niai, Haida. You've promised, it's already here, it's already done. So it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That feels so beautiful and refreshing, restorative. I want to say restorative. That's the word that comes to me. And so when you transmit this, what were you getting? What were you, see, this is my 3D mind trying to analyze
It's okay.
the shift that I felt. Any 3D words that you have on what you were doing?
Sure. Well, and I think it's beautiful you brought that up because, you know, all of the energies and intentions, say, for example, we're talking about the codes, they have an intention to it and an energy. How somebody experiences it or what they feel in a translation will be different. And when we want to know all the specifics of what the range of what happened is, that's where it becomes kind of fascinating. But the
Mhm.
original intention, which I completely understand, you know, I honor that knowingness because that helps us expand as we understand what it is, like what is it, how is it working, or how does it function. But that specific, the energies was to awaken the ancient soul. And we're all, that's everyone that's here right now is ancient, with these divine, brilliant, vastly different, unique purposes. And the more that we awaken those inner archives, which is through our, you know, it's through us. We already have all of those ingredients, right? We already have those facets and the libraries and the wisdom within us, you know, within our vessels, within our DNA, within our remembrances. And as we simultaneously open our bodies, our energy bodies, and clear, you know, clear, neutralize, harmonize, dissolve, reconfigure, we also simultaneously activate. And that's how I designed the transmission, was to do all of those things at once, you know, whether for whoever and however it's needed. So it will be restorative, which is a purifier. You know, restorative is what we're actually all collectively doing now, is restoring our purity back to divine order. So, in order to do that, we are also parallelly clearing out, reconfiguring, activating, and all of that. So, yeah, it's wonderful to be able to do it all at once, right? Because we really are that vastly multidimensional. We can do that. We can work on all the layers simultaneously. So,
Yes, okay. And you are offering personal one-on-one sessions with people to actually accelerate this journey and this awakening of the soul language within us. And so when we're talking about awakening the soul language, what's necessary for us to do to allow that to emerge?
Very much similar to what we were just saying, is that when we're simultaneously clearing out the not us stuff that we've accumulated, say from other lifetimes, we can actually emerge and awaken and remember all those different facets of ourself, because that's where all the information resides within us. So we're activating our own language, which for me, as a facilitator, comes through frequency very spontaneously, because it can actually work through the resonant chamber and the DNA and the cellulars and the energy bodies. So as it's clearing out, it's, say clearing out, dissolving, reconfiguring, it's activating the, dormancies, but also the divine sacred blueprint that people uniquely have. So, I mean, we really need to do that multi-layerly, which is why frequency and light code that are very specifically designed are so effective, is because they really are that intricate and complex, but it works at the speed of light. So it helps, not be an elongated process, say as like a course, right? A long course or something like that. It's like it can be actually spontaneously activated through the clearing, through the lifting, the sifting, the excavation. We're also reconfiguring and upgrading, which is a huge component right now, is to upgrade our system so we can continue to hold the pure tone light we're receiving.
Yes, all right, beautiful. And the energies coming onto our earth are absolutely supporting us in this. And so it just appears to me, again, it goes back to the thoughts, right? And you as a child were able to see how the thoughts were emitting energy and taking us into a timeline or a parallel reality. So it really feels we have to catch ourselves from thoughts that are toxic. And so we can use these codes with intention in that way. So if we're feeling like I don't even want to speak right now because we want that purity. So when people realize that they are creating reality with their thoughts already out there in the field, and then we can steer what we want to create, then there's no more room for negative thoughts. So, but yet you're still human. What do you do when you come across thoughts that I mean, are you still human, would you say? Or are you at a place where you're so trained in this that it's like, oh, that's not even an option, that thought. Do you ever have down days where you're challenged in this way? I guess is my bigger question. As are you still human? Do you still find, thoughts derailing you at times?
Well, that's a great question, because we are, I mean, we're transforming, everyone's transforming. So there's a lot of different energies that we're in through these changes. And so I do witness, say, or in an environment where the energy maybe has different, you want to say thought forms. The energy is not what I would be considering ideal, say an airport or grocery store, but being mindful if I feel that, say, chaotic energy or something that doesn't feel like something I want to engage with, is to really be present to refine, or fine tune, or just completely be out of, get out of that situation. I think it's really important, especially as we're evolving, that we limit our time or our energy expenditure, refine our energy expenditure, so, feels more correct to say it that way, to really refine how we're exchanging our energy. We don't need to engage with something that's not an energy exchange, right? So if we notice we're having a thought that, say it is an old pattern or an old or even not your thought, that it doesn't feel like something that you would be aligned to anymore, we cannot engage with it. You're not giving it energy, right? So it's really a consistent, especially through these massive transformations we're in, it's a consistent conscious awareness with, well, what is this thought, and is it an exchange? And if not, I mean, there's different things you can do, with that. It's not like the thoughts are bad or the mind is a bad guy. I feel like that sometimes gets like this bad rap that we need to get rid of the mind, and we don't, because we need the thought to create, right? We need certain things, there's aspects, of course, that are important. It's about what is the frequency of the thought and how can we transform that? And that comes through the refining of the what, which is the thought itself. So I don't know if that really answered your question, but
Yeah.
there are occasions, of course, because we're in this changing reality. There's different people with different perspectives, and I'm sure you meet that, in your work all the time with different perspectives, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're accepting that thought of your own or another person's, but you're aware of, is that an energy that you resonate with, right?
Yes, beautifully said. Thank you. Thank you for that. And that is our human journey, our journey of constantly refining. I just love how you shared that you're seeing like multiple timelines or parallel realities in every moment. And so if we can really understand that and understand our power within that present moment, that is really huge. I think that's a really big lesson here. And the power of our voice. We work a lot here with our voice. I'm going to say that you're a Blu-ray, and the Blu-rays use our voice to bring forward divine will on the planet. And I don't want to put a label on you. Don't worry if you don't know what that is. But when we use our voice in that way, that makes us all a Blu-ray or on a Blu-ray mission to create our world. And why am I thinking now of the Aborigines who walked the planet singing reality into creation, singing creation into reality, right? By singing. And that's back to the basics of our remembrance. And so, isn't it interesting that this hum, just a hum, will lift our spirits? If we go back to that basic of singing makes us feel better, nitrous oxide in our body and whatever, but the humming actually making our body vibrate with using a tone, that right there is power. That's energy, isn't it? And what you're doing, Sai, is directing it with intention and consciousness. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we can all explore that with our bodies, is making a tone and allowing it to just undulate, and when I say that, I mean just feel the reverberation through your body. And you'll see the power, you'll feel the power, you'll feel the transformation. And it doesn't need to sound like you're creating a, record deal, or you're, getting a record deal or something. You're just exploring one simple tone even, and let it flow and ripple through your whole body. Pull it all the way through your pillar into your feet, and you'll see, you'll feel, you'll know how much we are all that. And when I say that, I mean that we can transform anything through sound and through light. We just explore it, and we'll find out that we'll remember that we already know.
We will find out that we remember that we already know. I love it. I really do. And and I want to just share a quick story because
Sure.
this is my truth. And I remembered, and I just started out by toning. And you know, I have to come clean and say in my immaturity back in 2000 and I want to say 11. In my immaturity, I laughed the first time I heard a group of people toning. I laughed. I laughed. I was laughing. I laughed all night long afterwards. I was laughing. Like, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. But that actually awoke something within me. And naturally, when something happened and it was a situation, maybe someone was kind of not feeling stressed or whatever, the only thing I could think to do was "Ooh," to tone, right? And to just hold that tone. That's the only thing I could think to do. And then I look back at myself, my 3D mind was like, oh, you just did that weird thing. And then over the years, it evolved. And one time I found myself toning in my house, and memories poured through as the tone, as just what you described, as the tone became vowels, not just a tone, but it became vowels and then phrases together. Then my whole energy changed. And I remembered and I won't go into that story here, but in a nutshell, I remembered how I used my voice in Lemuria, how I stood on the shores using my voice, and how I was the one in this lifetime and past lifetimes to shut that down, along with other people in those lives to shut that voice down. And the memory of that was so beautiful. I began crying, still toning, and my dog and my cat came bounding down the stairs into the room because they felt the energy of that. And then later I got in my car and I was driving. Long story, but I bypassed 100 motorcycles that were in front of me, or they passed me actually in the front of a national park. And I was like, oh no, I have to wait for them. But I was still toning in my car. And miracle, one person in that motorcade of motorcycles said, here, go on through. Come on, pass, go to the front. And they let me pass this line. That is the power that you're talking about. And I just giggle at that story because that's my truth. And that's really what we can do. No wonder we have been saying for decades, sing and hum and tone. We should be singing and dancing and humming and toning on this planet. And that's what you do when you're hiking in the woods.
Yes. Yeah, it transforms, it'll even transform your coffee. Just tone while you're making coffee. Your whole morning will be completely completely energized. So, I mean, simple, another simple anything really, any activity you tone or you hum, it amplifies, it'll transform it. Transform a
Those
group.
who are those
Yeah.
who are shy. I mean, because maybe we're doing it in the shower when no one's listening or in our car. Those who are shy to do it, what words of wisdom and encouragement do you have for those who are not familiar with that tone or even the light language that they're beginning to speak? Any suggestions?
Well, we all came to Earth to be ourselves. So I always say have fun and be yourself. So if you're feeling, like you want to explore, your voice, just do so. It doesn't need to sound a certain way. So come into, a non-expectation with the exploration. Just play with it. Play with it. If you have a song that you like that comes on the radio, start to sing along, so you
Yeah,
just whatever feels right, feels right, and don't ever get into judgment. It doesn't, oh, it doesn't, the tone isn't tuned or something. That's not important. Just have fun, explore, and be you, because that's what you
I
came all the
love
way here
it.
to do. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So
You're welcome.
beautiful. All right. Now, ways that people can work with you to continue the activation from today and to continue to awaken that soul language. We're inviting the folks listening and watching to your special offer, which is a one-on-one frequency transmission session. This sounds so beautiful. What happens in this session and how has it helped the clients that you've worked with?
Well, actually, it's very similar to our meeting here. Is it's on Zoom as a remote session, where there's video, there's audio. We work specifically with the individual, their soul mission, their energy in that particular moment. Multidimensional facets of that wonderful soul receiving. So, however they're able to allow to receive what they're ready in their next moments. We work through sound, through light, through frequencies, through code, and to, a harmonized blend of activating, clearing, opening, expanding, integrating. Sometimes it's even a lot of integrating from other aspects or different, parallel lifetimes, or reconfiguring in those waves of clearing, activating, centering, harmonizing, neutralizing. We're also reconfiguring so that the body can hold these frequencies of purity that are ready to be integrated right now in the systems, these new light structures and codes. So it's a session very similar to that, where they can hear, they can feel, they can sense, and it's recorded. So they receive that after as a recording if they want to re-listen to that. Later. It's very powerful to do that. And those are one-on-one. So.
One-on-one, a full immersive hour with you and the frequencies, the galactic energy that you're bringing through. And it's transformational for those who are receiving it. And it will activate and awaken their soul language within. Thank you for that. And that's the multidimensionality of the recording, that in the first setting, in our spiral of evolution, we may pick up those codes that we need in that moment. But because we're evolving, when we go back and return to it, there's even more codes that we didn't get the first time around. Would you agree?
Well, yeah, everything works in layers. So whatever has occurred, through the first, say, session or the first time it's experienced, we're constantly layering our learning, or the layers or unlayering of whatever was done there in that moment. So if we listen to it again, by that moment we re-listen to it, we're completely different. Our energy is different, our frequencies are different, our ability to receive is different. So everything that'll be integrated, or into what degree it will be vastly different. So it's a brand new experience each time.
Isn't this exciting? Now I get this, how it's exciting to play in these energies on planet Earth, that we are not victims. We're not victims to politics or any situation, that we are the creators. And as more and more people know this, remember it, and live it, embody it, I'm so hopeful for that world that I see, and I do see that vision. As we wrap up our conversation, what is your vision of the world that you see?
Well, I see everything coming together, where, I mean, we're doing this now in different waves, where we're coming together, we're meeting the others that are here. Have
Mhm.
been working on different projects or different gifts and things. We're going to come together now as we are, and continue to co-create with the varying toolkits we have and our unique facets, and build new worlds differently, that are structurally different, laid out, properly geometrically on, the correct frequency lines. You're talking about song lines. There's actually correct harmonics of how these new structures and communities will be built. And some of the things that are coming apart, or structures or physical aspects, are going to be changing as we come together to build harmonically. So that'll be based with frequency, intention, through love, through the highest good and divine order, because that's what is next. That's what all this space through the changes is creating, is this new building with co-creation and weaving and expanding together, where everyone's amplification through the waves together will continue to magnify through the whole. So whatever, people are coming together to create is amplified, magnified for the whole, because we are doing that in togetherness for the unified one goal, and the unified harmonic of um, bringing everyone into unity consciousness. And that's just really, I say, around the corner, but it's happening right now.
Yes, it's happening in ways that we are beginning to see. We just have to read between the lines to see it and feel into it like you're so good at. So thank you, Sai. This has been so beautiful today. And I encourage everyone, take a look at this special offer. The link is on the page that got you here. If you're watching us on YouTube, it's in the description below. And it's very affordable. This is a beautiful opportunity to do some incredible work. This is better than a chiropractic appointment. This is a multi-dimensional chiropractic adjustment that you can use over and over and over again. And we are so excited to offer this for you. I know in your heart you'll feel it's beneficial. Check it out, click on that link and look at it, and you'll know if that's for you. I know that you'll feel Sai's energy today, and that in itself is that opportunity awaiting you to work with her directly in that one-on-one. So I thank everyone for being here and shining this light and receiving this gift today. We have shifted, Sai. We feel this energy still moving within us. I'm elated. That tells me things are good. And that is just a beautiful way to be on our planet. So thank you for this today. And I just want to give you a moment for any final thoughts.
Thank you so much for having me. First of all, it's been a true pleasure. I want to invite everyone through these changes to always allow for energy reset, energy refinement, because we really are evolving that fast and that swiftly, that what may have seemed like in the plans or your next juncture point might actually be getting reconfigured or expanded to make space for something vastly bigger, which I feel like is happening on a grand scale for many people, is what they had thought would be their next you want to say mission offering or facilitation is getting shifted, because actually it's bigger than that, or there's something different that's in expansion right now, because the energies are ready for that. We're all ready for that. So to come into allowance, non-expectation, and opening to whatever the moment is presenting, even if it's changing and you don't know. So give that space.
That is so perfect for this moment because this year has been that. And so as we go through those changes, just knowing this, knowing that the harshness that we may be going through is a spiritual opening as well, and it's a spiritual upgrade. So thank you for those words and the encouragement. We've got this, and it is fun, and we are excited, and
Yeah,
we are accepting, and we are allowing.
I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Cy Wind.
Welcome.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you all as well. And thank you for your light. We love you. Namaste.
Namaste.
This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.